Well, lack of leadership and school with a culture of complacency and missed warning signs. That's just 3 of the findings deemed as systematic errors that led to the killing of 19 children and 2 adults. A scathing 77-page report released by the Texas House of Representatives. It detailed the 77 minutes of horror at Robb Elementary. Now, Texas Governor Greg Abbott today calling the report disturbing and is pledging to make changes statewide to make Texas schools safer. NewsNation's Allie Bradley, she is joining us live now. Allie, nearly 400 members of law enforcement responded to the shooting, and the latest video reveals some pretty major discrepancies from that original reporting.
Yeah, you're exactly right here. Not only did that amount of people show up, but in the report, it doesn't detail when those law enforcement individuals were actually on scene. There are a couple of discrepancies that I've been sifting through and looking at. One of those things is in testimony, Chief Arredondo, who was the commanding officer here on scene at Uvalde, he was claiming that they only had pistols inside of that building, but there is video of an additional person that was with him that the video shows a staff sergeant with Uvalde police, and he was also with the SWAT team that had a rifle, who retreats immediately after taking on some gunfire very early on when there was only about 3 or 4 people inside of that hallway. Now, another thing that's really interesting is in this report, there is a very clear plan for active shooting drills inside of Uvalde School District. So one of those things was Chief Arredondo was actually laying out the chain of command. He was the top of the totem pole here. He was the commanding officer, and that is what the policy states that he actually submitted for their active shooting drill. What's really interesting, though, is when Chief Arredondo testified, he had claimed that he only saw himself as a police officer, was responding as a police officer, and didn't title himself. But he was the one who actually laid out that protocol for if an active shooter is happening. And again, he is the person who's going to take command. So he's on the other side of this classroom here, the other vantage point that you can't really see. You can see feet kind of at the other side of the classroom there. That is where Chief Arredondo is. And we also know that there was not a lot of communication because their radios weren't working in there. We know Arredondo didn't even have his radios. So there were a couple of things that definitely fell short. Obviously, were errors in their response there. And another thing is, though, all 3 of the exterior doors were unlocked. That's a big issue for teachers who I've been talking to, because teachers say that every single one of those exterior doors, obviously you see the gunman walk right into one of those exterior doors, those are all supposed to be locked as soon as people are coming through them. So teachers I'm talking to are really frustrated that other teachers did not do their job in making sure those doors were locked as well.
Well, Allie, we have this report, but now so many families wondering who will be punished. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.